And now it is my pleasure to welcome today's guest speakers, Susan Heine and Michael Patterson.
So, is it this or this? Which one do you want me to speak from?
Whichever one you want. Which one do you want?
This.
Okay, you got that.
Michael's a double header today. Well, welcome. I see new faces. I see veterans, lots of people. We don't use the word old. If you agree with anything I say or you feel moved, just wave those palms. If you don't have a palm, you can wave your hand. All right, friends. Friends, what I know from many of you have been in my classes, we've had one-on-one talks. I know that you've been on a spiritual journey. Maybe other than my friend Amanda, most of you came here as an adult, seeking something deep and something spiritual. And the journey led you here to Unity. And Unity is where you found like-minded people. A place, you want to wave on? Unity encourages us to look at our thoughts and raise our consciousness from victim to victor. Right? Yeah. And one of the things we've learned is where we can find heaven. So, those of you that are in my classes, where do we find heaven?
Within.
Yeah, everybody's pointing within, right. And we often call that connection the Christ. And that's why we light this Christ candle every Sunday, as a reminder of the divinity that's within us. In Luke 12:32, Jesus said, it is, so in 12:32, Jesus said, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And here, Jesus, who is our master teacher, is saying that God, or our creator, the divine mind, is the Father. And that's who we honor, and that's where we came from. So, do you believe it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom of heaven?
Yes.
And do you really believe that?
Yes.
All right, yes, okay. So knowing that, Jesus, the master teacher, he traveled around with the message about our divinity. And he said, I and the Father are one. So if that's not encouragement enough to love yourself, I don't know what is. So if you can love parts of yourself, let go of the past, let go of the fear of the future, let's give a wave, a shout out about that. Today is Palm Sunday, and the Sunday before Easter. Easter is the time of celebrating rebirth and the renewal of our faith. Reverend Wanda next week will talk more on that, but today is our preparation day, where we open up our hearts to joy and to acknowledge that we're both human and divine, and here on this earth. So let's embrace the joy of self. When you do that, you can love others. All right, embrace your joy of self. Now, historically, the story on this Sunday is of Jesus the Nazarene, who returns triumphantly to Jerusalem. We read that he sat above the crowd on a donkey's colt, and he was honored by the crowd. The people came out of their homes to welcome him. They cut down palms from palm trees and waved it as some said, Hosanna. Okay, now I'm going to break this down. Metaphysically, Jesus represents the Christ, the I am. The large animals metaphysically represent large blocks or obstacles in your consciousness. The crowd, this is according to Charles Fillmore, metaphysically represents the many thoughts that pass through our mind daily. Some are praising us, good job. And others are, oh man, you messed it up. So that's kind of our human nature, praising and criticizing. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, in his book, The Revealing Word, states that palm trees are strong. They bend with the wind. We all know that. So palms represent the realization of the unlimited resource of strength that's within all of us. So the story of Jesus is an example to us to raise our thoughts, just like the crowd did, the things that we hold in our mind, and to hold on to, we are really royalty. Let's wave our palms at ourselves. Yes, Palm Sunday is a celebration of our true nature. Now, our friend Michael, who, is this a good time for you? All right. So, Michael, who's a longtime Unity member here, is going to talk on the same subject.
How are you doing? Is this, you got this one?
Yeah.
I don't have one. Oh, well, that'll help. There we go. You can turn this down, actually. The other thing is, it was pointed out that we did not light the Christ candle today. You want to do this? Was it? Oh, I see it's small. It's small, so somebody pointed that out. One of the things I want to talk about is like Charles Fillmore. One of the things that you must be aware of, and I know that sometimes this bothers people, that he considered the Bible the primary textbook for his teachings. As you can see, there's this huge Bible dictionary that he wrote to explain the metaphysics of the biblical stories and things like that. So I think it's important to put some of this in context with the Bible to also get the spiritual message. For one, let me point out that when I was young and I was taught, that they were saying, Hosanna, I thought that was a praise thing. And in a way, it kind of is, but not the way you think it is. What they are actually saying is, save us. This is a plea for help. It is not a praise statement. And to put this in context, understand what was going on in Jerusalem at the time. And we'll get to that. What was happening is that the people of Israel were being oppressed. And Stephen can tell you a lot about this. He knows a lot of the Jewish history. But one of the things that in times of oppression, that the people had always been promised a Messiah that would come to save them. And there were a number of things that where Jesus, as I would normally call him Yeshua, in the Hebrew name, was coming to fulfill some of this and to deliver these people. But understand that initially they were looking for someone who would be a great military and world leader who would deliver them from their worldly oppression. When he got on the donkey to ask the colt to ride in, that was prophesied earlier that this would happen. So he deliberately chose a symbol to say to people, yeah, I'm coming. And they were saying, save us. And they were out there and they were happy because they were thinking that this liberator was coming. What they didn't understand is that he was a liberator, but he wasn't the liberator that they thought. They were looking for worldly liberation. To reemphasize the point, first of all, you talked about the large animals being these obstacles. That particular animal also has a symbolism. It symbolizes humility and servitude. So what he was also saying is that if you want to be great in the kingdom, you want to be this leader, you want to be a king, you have to come with humility, bow down before that which is the one. And you have to be coming to serve. And that's how he came in. Also understand that where he emphasized a couple things, we talk about Jerusalem being this place of peace. And that the Christ Spirit, symbols of the Christ Spirit is coming into this place of peace. And we all want this. But I advise you, I was going to read some of it, but I advise you when you get home to read Matthew 21. Read this story and see what happens. Because when Yeshua gets there, it looks triumphant, but the first thing he has to do is go into that sacred place, the temple. And what does he do? Anybody remember?
Yeah.
What's the first thing he did when he got to the temple? He threw out the money changers. So what this was saying, that he entered into this, the Christ Spirit comes in to this place of peace. But there's a pollution there. And the money changers, metaphysically, symbolize our attachment to the worldliness. Okay? It's just like, and it comes up like this sometimes. Oh, wow, I believe and the Christ Spirit is within me, but I got these money problems. Let me see if I can figure out a way to do this and do this and do that. Or let me figure out a way to solve this particular problem, or let me figure this out. So what happens is that our ties to this worldly existence prevents that spirit from dwelling in a state where it can really help us. So that Christ Spirit first, when Jesus came in, he had to move that out of the temple. Okay. And we think, oh, well, this is great. He threw them out. Well, there's another thing that happens on our spiritual road. And I bring this up because a lot of times when we come up with a revelation, we come up with something that helps us, and we are real happy, we're real joyful. And then 2 weeks later, something happens, and our spirit is dampened, like we tell folks, well, if you just pray, this person won't die. It's not exactly true, as you know. You've had that experience. So people's faith gets shaken because, once again, when that spirit comes, sometimes we mistake what the liberation is. Again, the crowd was looking for worldly liberation, and as he told the woman at the well, I'm going to give you some water that if you drink it, you'll never be thirsty again. Do you really think he meant, I'm going to give you a bucket of water, and once you drink it, you never want any more water? No. He was saying, I'm going to give you the water that nourishes the spirit, so the spirit is never thirsty again. So here again, I'm coming to liberate you, the Christ Spirit. But I didn't say that I was going to take care of all this worldly stuff for you, because he tells his disciples what? There will be wars and rumors of war, but don't be troubled. So he's saying, this stuff is going to happen, but I'm going to show you a way to be above it. So, and that sounds good, and like I said, we sometimes we get shaken after that period. But here's the other thing that happens. He throws the moneylenders out of the temple. So this is symbolic of us getting rid of that mind, that carnal mind, and not being hung up about that. But the old belief systems arise, symbolized here by the Pharisees. A religious, not a spiritual, a religious rigidity. And what did they do when he came in and he was healing people, and this spirit is spreading? They dig in their heels and go, no, this is not the way we taught it. We've always done it this way, and it needs to stay this way. And then they go and report him to the Roman authorities. Yeah. Okay. Metaphysically, think about this. Sometimes we can be liberated, but our old habits and our old beliefs tell us, I can't think this way. I can't do this. I'm not divine, even though it tells you this. It says it's right in the Bible, and you know what I'm fond of quoting. Psalm 82:6, for I've said you are gods. Which means that we have this power. It means that our minds, that we have been given this divinity, that we're given the spirit that we were promised. But we are taught a lot of times, traditionally, we can't say that. I can't say I'm a child of God like Yeshua said, or Jesus. I can't say I'm a God like it says in the Bible, and then we're defeated again. So understand that there's a proverb that says the end of the story is better than the beginning. So we have to go through the whole story to understand it. Yes, this is a very great day, and the people are happy, but again, they have a misunderstanding, and this misunderstanding tells on them less than a week later, because what happens? He's crucified. Were they out there saying, Hosanna then? No! Even think about this. What does Charles Fillmore call the disciples? What are they? Our what? Thoughts. Our faculties, right? Even his faculties deserted him at that time. Think about it. They ran away, right? They ran away. And this sometimes happens when we don't understand what was going on. They had no need to run away because the resurrection was like, okay, you can conquer even this death. Whether it be physical or spiritual, you can conquer this once you have this spirit in you. But understand that it is simple, but not always easy. It sounds easy on that Palm Sunday when we all feeling good and say the liberator has come. And then when we see some trouble come ahead, uh-oh. But I'm going to leave it at that because Reverend Wanda will tell us the rest of the story after that. But I just wanted to point that out, that when you're on your journey, like he said, don't let your heart be troubled, because it didn't say that troubles would not come once you came unto this understanding. What he said is that I'm going to give you this water where you'll never be thirsty. In other words, I'm going to give you an understanding that will allow you to rise above any of these troubles that come. Once you understand that you must be free in spirit and free through that divine Christ consciousness before you can even begin to be free at this level. Because think about it. You know how people are, if I only had a couple more dollars and got this house with 2 more rooms and they get that, then next year is, well, if I could only get this, so it's never satisfying. But the Christ Spirit says the universe is abundant, everything you have is here, but you got to have that understanding. You got to get rid of the money changers that inhabit your peace. And then you have to be aware that you're going to have to fight with the Pharisees within you who say, no, let's go back to the old way. I'm scared. Yeah. That's it. So we'll finish. You'll finish next. You're going to finish this up, right? And on Good Friday, too. It's my understanding, right, that you'll be here for people who want to come Good Friday. And we call it Good Friday, but think about that. That was a rough time for me. Yeah. That was a rough time. When we put that in, and it's not wrong to say that, because by putting it in context and not making it so rosy, we understand that we can overcome the worst of things when we tell the truth about it and not try to just paint this pretty, oh, this is nice. No, that was not a good day. But the days after were fantastic days.
Thank you. Not only a student of the Bible, great teacher, speaker, he's also a great musician and our sound man. Oh, thank you, everybody, for being here today. My heart is so filled. And at this point, we're going to do a short meditation, followed by a little song. So as we go into the quiet, you might want to put your palms down. And lower your gaze or shut your eyes if you want to. It's going to be short, so you want to follow your breath. Breathing in and breathing out in a calm way, knowing that that joy is within us. And this is metaphysics of Jerusalem tells us that It's a place of peace. And at this moment, filled with peace, knowing who you are. That God's within you. As we take this time, filling our heart with love for ourselves, we can then feel love for our neighbors. And we take that love for your neighbors that are in this room, embracing them, loving them. And that energy flows outside the center into all of Fort Wayne, loving the individuals that are here in Fort Wayne, where one can feel at this moment peace and calm. Calm because we know that our Master Teacher, Jesus, told us love. Love is the first commandment. So my friends, I ask you to take this with you today. The saying for the Bible, it is our Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom of heaven that's within. In spite of appearances, you can go within and know that love is there. So wiggle your toes, open your eyes, come back to this place. Wave your palm to wake you up. And, ooh, that was joy. Like that.
That was awesome. Thank you, Susan and Michael, and Jeff and Jacqueline.